Good afternoon. My name is Agnes Bautista. My traditional name is Taikastani. I'm from the Yakima Indian Reservation. I have my daughter Sarah next to me, my sister Ellen, my father Harris behind me. Dear members of the commission, relatives, and guests, today we join those seeking justice for their missing and murdered mothers, daughters, sisters, fathers, sons, and brothers, the lifeblood of their communities. On August 7th, 2019, the heartbeat of our family, my mother, Wakum Gail Renee Teo, a Yakima tribal member, was unjustifiably taken from us through evil acts of violence on our Yakima Indian Reservation in her home in White Swan, Washington. Nearly 4 years have passed since her murder, and her case has yet to go to trial. Even though the non-native defendant was apprehended on the same day as her death, and he has remained in the custody of the local state court in Yakima County. 4 years waiting for a trial, reliving the nightmare as we wait to testify. We have no closure and are unwell. In our Indian teachings, we are taught that our loved ones watch over us from the other side. They say a mother's prayer from the next world is the strongest prayer. She is always watching and keeping an eye on us, as mothers do. So we live our lives in a way knowing that we will be together again when it's our time. When we do that, our loved one is well where they are, with their Creator and the relatives that went before them. But I can see my mom looking back at me and getting mad, upset that all of us are suffering. It pains a mother to see her child suffer. It pains a wife to see her husband / best friend suffer. That's what they called each other. My parents called each other best friends. It pains a grandmother to see her grandchildren suffer. Our grief is traumatic. The pain my mother endured sits on us daily. The level of violence that she went through for 12+ hours is excruciating. Now she must watch the torturous pain continue to her family. We have been given 8 trial dates by Yakima County. Each one comes and brings all of the vivid memories with it. Every 6 months for 4 years, we arrive and get told we're not ready. By the end of the 3rd year, our lead investigator had retired. Shortly after, our prosecutor abruptly retired. We were assigned the greenest prosecutor in the office. She has never done a murder trial. Then we took our concern to another level and approached the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington. We received a sit-down with the U.S. Attorney. She assured us that she would be checking in on Mom's case with the county office. 2 months later, we received feedback that she had checked in and felt that my mom's case was in the best possible hands. A month later, we read in the local newspaper that our assigned prosecutor with the Yakima County was being charged with sexual assault. We have been again assigned another new prosecutor. 10 weeks prior to our triage hearing, going into her trial set for October of this year. A trial involving aggravated first-degree murder, first-degree robbery, and first-degree burglary of my mom and our family home. We also fear a 9th continuance and a new trial date. We have been abandoned by the government that made a treaty trust promise to her ancestors to keep her safe. The United States agent at the Walla Walla Treaty Council of 1855 promised to pass laws to protect us from crime on our reservations. The United States promised to protect our people from outsiders. During the treaty negotiations at the Walla Walla, Governor Stevens and General Palmer, on behalf of the United States, stated, "The Great Father desires to make arrangements so you can be protected from these bad white men, and so they can be punished for their misdeeds. And the Great Father expects you will treat his white children as he will make a law they shall treat you." My mother did not receive this protection, and the outside perpetrator has yet to be held accountable for her murder. The United States has broken this promise to her. Governor Stevens spoke of an agent for the United States that would live amongst us Yakimas to ensure that the treaty promises were kept, stating, "If you think we have not done our part to the agent, go to the agent and tell him so, and he will see that we do it." Well, the United States has not done its part. My mother lived in rural White Swan at the foothills of the Cascade Mountains on the Yakima Indian Reservation for most of her 63 years. She was the White Swan All-Indian Rodeo Queen in 1973. White Swan is an unincorporated community with no police and no funding for many essential resources. For a town of about 1,000, there is a sizable amount of people experiencing homelessness and addiction. The nearest hospital is more than 40 minutes away, and 911 dispatch is known for being non-responsive to calls from White Swan. My mom witnessed the United States' failure to uphold its treaty promise to her reservation community. She prayed for her community and tirelessly tried to help as she continued to watch it deteriorate. Now she's gone, and we are left to advocate for the promises made to her and to the Yakimas by the United States. A promise of protection and accountability. The United States, at minimum, needs to prosecute my mother's murderer, to free her family from the burden. I worry it upsets her to see us have to fight. It disturbs an elder woman from her peace that she fought her way out of this world to achieve. The crisis of no justice or delayed justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people is something we as Yakimas and throughout Indian country have endured for far too long. Standing in solidarity, together we can ensure that justice is served for my mom and all Indigenous people who have disproportionately suffered acts of violence. Although continued reform is required to address the MMIP crisis, it no doubt includes obtaining justice for my mom, Wakum Gail Renee Teal. 9.
Hello and good evening. My Indian name is Degusi and I am the granddaughter of Kaulipi and Wakum. My colonizer name is Sarah Rose Bautista and I am part of the Yakima tribe. Gail Renee Teal was my grandmother. She was murdered on August 7, 2019, on the Yakima Reservation. The lack of care shows that our lives don't matter to the United States. And the reason why I have decided to speak to you is to show you how this is not just affecting like my mother. In 2019, I was 10 years old. I was still a child. But now I am 14. And during those years of development, I've had to fight against my depression and suicidal thoughts because the government shows that my life does not matter. If I go missing, no one is gonna look for me. So what's the point of being here if no one cares? And then when I go to school, all my friends, they would talk about, should I still be playing with Barbie dolls? And I'm over here trying not to do things to hurt myself. During 4th grade, I had over 10 panic attacks on the playground. I had to constantly go to my counselor's office at school. And during those times, all he could tell me is that I'm okay and I'm safe. Even though it's clear I wasn't. If I went missing, I would only have family and a community. I wouldn't have the government looking for me. And being Two-Spirit does not help that. In 2nd grade, I came out as Two-Spirit, and now, throughout the years, I've learned that just puts me on even worse odds. My brother, he's only 9, and now he's so scared to even sleep at my grandfather's home, the home that we all called home. We called it Homabunga whenever we arrived, and now he can't sleep there without getting scared about someone breaking in or without someone hurting us in any way. And my sisters, I have 2 close sisters, and we've all had to fight through similar emotions. And then when I entered a new school, I tried to carry myself in a way of not showing any types of emotions about being Indigenous. I tried to hide it as best as I could. But then I was talking to one of my teachers, and she gave me a strength. And so I don't have it on me, although in hindsight I think I should have brought it. I wrote a 4-page prompt explaining to people who are non-natives what it truly means to be one. How you have to live in fear of your life. How you can't even just walk into a store feeling safe. You're on high alert, you park by street lights. I was talking to my mother in my room once about my emotions, and something came to me that evening. In the past, we natives had to fight. We fought with bows, shields, and now we have to fight with our words. And my grandmother's case has truly shown me that my life doesn't matter to the United States. And that's hard considering I have non-native friends, because I live in a small town in Washington, Yakima. And there's truly at my school only 2 other Native kids there. One of them is in my grade, but he's stuck in a rotation like I was, of just trying to mask it. We try to act like we aren't Native. And I've also been told that to multiple people we're not invisible, but when you treat our cases just as numbers instead of people, we are invisible. You guys say you will take actions in these crimes, but then why haven't these crimes stopped, or why haven't you fully taken a step in? It is 2 points now. I now have to somehow carry myself during those days when you're told a trial might happen, a hearing might happen, and I have to go into places, in emotional places that I don't like to be, in public. And then I have to see my mother, my grandfather, my auntie break down, because sometimes they can't handle it anymore, and neither can I. Now we're just trying to find a form of comfort. Thank you for your time.
Today, I want to be truly grateful to this commission on behalf of my wife. Unfortunate that this is as close as you can come to our home, but we understand the constraints you have also. The state of Washington has the largest population of missing and murdered Indian women in the United States. And I don't know, we live a life that's given to us by our Creator. And when we come to this land, we have an agreement with our Creator that only our Creator knows when we're going to leave this land. I don't know if this is the agreement that was made with my wife, my best friend, that she would leave this world in the manner that she did. But I know in my heart, because we're left these words by our elders, Our elders left us real healing words when our people leave this land to go home, how they're going to be taken care of on another side. So when they leave, we know that their elders are there to meet them and greet them. And all we have today is a prayer because of the way our elder, our big sister in our teachings, because of the way she left. We pray every day that she found those elders, almost like you're sitting today. We're told that when she comes into that home, that they're going to be lined up like this to greet her. From the youngest child to the oldest person, that's our prayer, that's what she found on that day. In Yakima County, the investigators told our family this was the most heinous crime they've ever seen. And they've seen many, the investigators. We're not like some of the words that we're listening to today. We don't delve into what took place in my home. That's between my wife and her Lord, my wife and her Creator. We're taught that's not something for us. That's between her and her Creator, her and her Lord. Because of court, we're going to find out, though, what happened in that home. For 12 and a half hours, she was in that home with that man. And the only reason we know that is we had surveillance in our home. We had surveillance in our home that recorded everything that took place in that house. And you hear the daughter speak that he was apprehended within hours. It was because of that surveillance in that home. They knew. Our other daughter here, her mate, he installed that surveillance and he was able to come to the house within an hour of me getting home. And investigators identified the individual. And they found him walking by the house, walking by our house. We don't look forward to that day when we hear those words. But we do look forward to that day when this individual receives whatever it is the law provides for him for what he did. My elders, these children's elders, they have people's names on a piece of paper from 1855 that these children come from. They signed that treaty with the United States government and the Yakima Nation. 4 of those names these children come from. 4 of those names, this blood sits here today. All we want from this government is for the Department of Justice to provide justice to that child of those men that put an X on a piece of paper. Our people give up 1/3 of the state of Washington so that we could have a small reservation and live in peace and harmony. Has that happened? Not hardly. Not hardly. But we're not by ourselves, we know that. Everybody in this room that lives on a reservation, that comes from a reservation, the same thing. We can all stand here right next to each other and tell the same story. The government has never upheld its promise. And all we're looking for is a very, very small moment for the government to stand up and honor their obligation. In the minutes of the treaty, the handwritten minutes of the treaty, we're going to be safe on our reservation. We're going to be safe from those Shiapopums, the non-Indian people that come and visit our reservation. We're going to live in safety with those people. "178 years later, that's not true. That's not true. Wakup is testimony to that lesson today. 1,448 days since she left this land. Normally, we're a very quiet, very respectful family. We don't lay our burdens out here to the world. We don't share our burdens with anybody. And I don't like for my children to have to do this. But because of their elder, we're forced to stand in front of you. We're forced to stand in front of you and seek a little bit of justice. In our teachings, our Yakama teachings, that elder is not free in that place she's at until everything on this land is done with. Until everything is done with. And right now, the state government is holding her peacefulness hostage. They're holding her peace hostage with her people. Her love of her life, her grandma, her best friend in the world next to me. They're there together, but they can't be happy together because the state government is not able to prosecute that man. There's an article in today's newspaper at home. The county prosecutor's office doesn't have enough money for public defenders. So they're gonna let people go because they can't give them attorneys. My wife's case had a sexual assault attorney assigned to a murder case. And I was told to be comfortable with that. Never tried a murder case in her career. So all we ask, children of Wacom. Department of Justice gentleman was here. When there's a little gray area in the law, walk through that gray area and advocate for the Indians. Advocate for the Indians. That's your trust responsibility. Your trust responsibility to secure the safety for them people. You took our land. You took our land and assured us that's what would happen. You assured us that's what was going to happen. And today we feel let down. Today we feel let down. Not just us, every one of us that's suffering the same way. This has been happening since 1493. 1493. Before that, the visitors we had come to this land, they were all about trading. Trading. Economic development, what it's called today. That's what they came for. But when they came in 1492, they came here to conquer this country. When they came here to conquer this country, it was to beat out the people that were living here. It was to take them and stomp them into the ground and eliminate them. But as they got further west, the people were so smart about their land that they couldn't come and beat the people here on this part of the world. On our reservation, we've never been beaten in a war with the white people, with the cavalry. We've had wars there, but we're like other reservations here in this part of the world. We've never been beaten there. But yet, we're still not taken care of. We're still not taken care of today. All we're looking for, and I'll say it again, I'll say it as long as you let me stand here. All we're looking for is accept your federal trust responsibility and protect us Indian people. And it's complicated. I know it's complicated. The courts have made our jurisdiction so complicated we don't know who to turn to. We're that way today because of that. But there was a young lady sitting here talking about Oliphant. Oliphant's a joke today. I'm going someplace I don't want to go.
Oh, gosh.
I don't read books very much, but I read the law. I read the law. That's the only thing I have as an Indian individual, is how the law protects me, my children, my grandchildren. So today, I truly believe that we're right in our ask, that my children are right in their ask to have the Department of Justice in that Eastern District of Washington to come and pull case number 19C24 out of the state system and bring it into the federal system. Now, when we visited with Ms. Waldref, she warned us that it's going to add time to the case. That's not a concern no more. That concern went away when the county prosecutors started playing with our mother, with our grandmother, with our wife, when they started playing with her court hearings and not taking their responsibility serious. Their responsibility. and on behalf of my children, our granddaughter, we thank you for allowing us to come. The Crow gentleman, we thank you for allowing us to come to his home today and share our hurt, to share our pain. It's always wonderful to be able to go to somebody else's home and be accepted, and be accepted. I'm fortunate I've been able to go, gosh, a couple hundred reservations in my short little life.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm grateful to be able to come here to somebody else's homeland and share our little bit of pain. Our little bit of pain, it's huge for us. And we're learning how to carry it. We're learning how to walk with it. We're learning how to take care of ourselves, our children, and more importantly, take care of our home and our land around us and the things that come with it. All of those foods, all of those medicines, all of those animals that come with that land. That's our responsibility when we come to this world that our elders gave us. Our elders gave us. And then we learn how to fight for that treaty. That treaty. That treaty means everything. Means everything to an Indian person. So you fight with it. You learn how to fight with it. So thank you. Thank you again. Thanks for no paper too.
Oh my gosh. Walk away.
So next we have Harris Teo. Harris, can you come up to the front? Following that, we'll have Nicole Wack.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Why is she whispering? Yes, you guys are so good. Alright, thank you, bye bye. You're welcome. I think, oh wait, let me pause this.